So crypto universe, I'm back again. There's some major developments that have been taking place over the past 24 hours, and I wanted to get into it. So first, President Donald Trump had put out a tweet last night announcing that essentially they've finalized a deal with China that will pretty much end this whole tariff saga that's been going on between America and many other countries such as China. So the tweet he put out reads, "For many years, the world has wondered why prescription drugs and pharmaceuticals in the United States of America was so much higher in price than they were in any other nation, sometimes being 5 to 10 times more higher than the same drug manufactured in the same laboratory or plant by the same company. It was always difficult to explain and embarrassing because, in fact, there was no correct or rightful answer. The pharmaceutical drug companies would say for years that it was research and development cost, and that all of these costs were and would be for no reason whatsoever borne by the suckers of America alone. Campaign contributions can do wonders, but not with me and not with the Republican Party. We are going to do the right thing, something that the Democrats have fought for many years. Therefore, I am pleased to announce that tomorrow morning in the White House at 9 a.m., this was this morning, by the way, this happened already. He announced this last night, but he said, I will be signing one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history. Prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices will be reduced almost immediately by 30 to 80%. So that's just a quick summary. He said a little bit more, but that was the most important part, obviously. And also he did a press conference after he signed this deal that I wanted to show you guys very quickly. And so I'm going to cue it up right now.
In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China.
I think it's very interesting that he chose to use the word reset, especially because of what that term means within the crypto space. Like for so many years now, when it comes to the concept of a global reset and a world reserve currency, things of that nature, it's interesting that he chose those specific words. I don't know if he wrote the speech or if somebody else did. I'm assuming he did. I don't think there's really a whole lot to him saying that, but I just thought it was a very interesting choice of words that he used specifically to get people optimistic and to make people start to speculate, which is anytime people in the crypto space hear the term reset used by a politician, they're going to start to speculate. Let's continue.
After productive talks in Geneva, both sides now agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed.
Yes, so they lowered the tariffs significantly. I'm sure you all have been paying attention for the past few months about how the U.S. was announcing these very high tariffs to places like China, and China was also saying that they were going to do retaliation tariffs, and it was going as high as like 140%, and that became a big talking point for most Americans for the past like few months. So this will reduce it by, it's reported that it's going to be reduced by about 115%. And that's on both sides. So it looks like that this tariff saga will be coming to an end. But let's continue.
After April 2nd to 10% for 90 days as negotiators continue on the largest structural issues. And I wanted...
So yes, even though they're going to be lowering the tariffs on both sides, both of them are also going to still keep a 10% tariff intact. And 10% obviously sounds a lot better than 140 and 115 and all these crazy numbers that we were hearing about for the past several weeks or the past several months. But let's continue.
Tell you that a couple of things. First of all, that doesn't include the tariffs that are already on, that are our tariffs, and it doesn't include tariffs on cars, steel, aluminum, things such as that.
Okay, yes. So again, also he mentioned at the very end there that the current agreement that the U.S. and China has does not include cars, steel, etc. Now, I'm sure that was on purpose, specifically because of the fact that many Americans have been wanting the manufacturing sector in America to make a comeback. Obviously, as we all know, it's taken a massive dip. Like, it's declined over the past several decades. These companies have been outsourcing that labor to other countries because they could get it for much cheaper in these other countries, and it's left a lot of people in America without jobs. Whereas in previous generations, these jobs provided very nice lifestyles and very nice salaries for many Americans, and obviously many Americans would want that back. So the market responded positively to this. As you can see, when you look at what happened today, stocks were up. People were out feeling optimistic again. Bitcoin took a slight dip, but there were several coins such as XRP and among many others that went up today. XRP was up as of right now when I'm recording this. XRP is up 7%. Ethereum, well, actually, Ethereum's down for the day. It's down 1.49%, but it was briefly up at one point today. Many coins were up today. People responded positively to this. Even when you look at the Fear and Greed Index by CoinMarketCap, it's estimating that many people are becoming extremely optimistic, aka greedy, and that's very exciting to see, of course, because many of us want to see another bull run take place. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. Hopefully, it happens towards the fall. I don't think it's going to happen right now. Maybe at the earliest, it might happen over the course of the summer, but I think more realistically, it might happen somewhere between like the fall or next winter. So maybe September to January, but we'll see. That's just my prediction. But I want to get into a couple stories here. So the first story is about the Pope and AI. So the first American Pope, Leo, says AI poses new challenges for humanity. The new Pope has drawn parallels between today's AI development and the challenges of the Industrial Revolution. So newly elected Pope Leo, formerly Robert Prevost, identified artificial intelligence as a key challenge to human dignity, labor, and justice in his first address. The Chicago-born pontiff's comments continue the church's recent engagement with AI ethics. Prevost's surprise election marks the first time an American has been named Pope, defying global predictions and even getting a congratulations from President Donald Trump. So, in summary, because it's not too long of an article, but I wanted to hurry up and provide you guys a summary. So, in summary, the Pope says AI's advanced features give it sophisticated abilities to perform tasks, but not the ability to think. As AI becomes more powerful, there is an associated risk that human labor may lose its value in the economic realm, which is something that, if you've been paying attention to, has been obvious, like especially in the crypto space, because we're typically trying to look forward. It's very obvious that, hey, with the way technology is progressing, many jobs will become obsolete. And that's, for a very long time, people thought that meant that you were being like a just negative, or you're trying to be like a negative Nancy or doom and gloom and stuff like that. But in reality, even you have even the guy who's been appointed the new Pope is saying the same thing. Everybody can see this coming, but unfortunately, a lot of people are really not going to do anything about it. So it is what it is. Next story I wanted to get into here is regarding speaking of AI, I wanted to talk about fake AI tools that used Noodlofile crypto wallet stealing malware. This is a report from Decrypt. So the Noodlofile malware harvests browser credentials, cryptocurrency wallet information, and more sensitive data has been compromised, according to a security researcher. Cyber criminals are using fake AI tools on social media to spread Noodlofile malware. Malicious platforms trick users into downloading zip archives that steal sensitive data. Noodlofile stealer, which researchers suspect originated in Vietnam, can include additional remote access Trojans, which is something, again, this is something we have to be very careful of. Even though this space is progressing fast, one thing that people overlook at times is how many people are going to be targeting them, especially in this space. Like, there's non-stop scams that come out, and These scams end up making crypto look bad as a whole because it makes people think that it's nothing but scams, even though in reality there's massive potential to crypto and crypto has a bright future, but ultimately, unfortunately, there will be growing pains. We've seen the growing pains, and one of the growing pains is it's the wild, wild west, and the wild, wild west has produced many of these scams, such as this AI tool that's being used to put zip files on people's computers that then steal private information. But moving on, the final story I wanted to get into here was actually about the FBI and Bitcoin. $1.2 million in Bitcoin has been seized. Well, not yet, but the FBI began the process to seize $1.2 million in Bitcoin from Girls Do Porn boss. U.S. authorities ordered Pratt and his accomplices to forfeit their Bitcoin in July of 2024. The FBI seized $51,533 in Bitcoin from Michael Pratt, arrested for sex trafficking related to his Girls Do Porn website. Pratt deceptively recruited women for adult videos promising privacy but publishing content online, generating $17 million in revenue. After becoming an FBI fugitive, Pratt was captured in Spain and locked away through the 2020 Ledger data breach. He was located through the 2020 Ledger data breach. The FBI has seized $51,000 in Bitcoin from a wallet belonging to Michael Pratt, a New Zealand pornographer who was arrested in 2022 on charges related to sex trafficking. U.S. authorities submitted a forfeiture order against Pratt and accomplices in July 2024, with the filing including a request to seize 3 Bitcoin wallets that contain a total of 8.13 Bitcoin. This amounts to $840,000 at today's Bitcoin price. And according to the forfeiture notice posted by the FBI today, the agency has successfully taken 0.610964999 Bitcoin of that total. A New Zealand national, Pratt had immigrated to the U.S. in 2009 and is reported to have operated the Girls Do Porn website from 2007 to 2019. Dang. So he was out here doing this for a decade. But in October 2019, he was charged with absentia with sex trafficking crimes in the Southern District of Columbia. So again, long story short, this guy was running an adult website, and he was getting allegedly getting the female actors to get involved under the guise of it being a private thing, but then he would release it publicly and allegedly make millions of dollars off of it. And now they're claiming that he has hundreds of thousands to possibly millions of Bitcoin stashed away somewhere. This is definitely crazy. It was also interesting to hear that coincidentally there was a Ledger data breach right when they needed to find somebody. I thought that was a little interesting, but I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole of like conspiracy theories. But at the same time, it's needless to say this is a bad look for the space, because there's still that stigma that this is a space that's only being used by people like who are criminals in the underworld, which is a flawed narrative from the jump, because most of these cryptocurrency projects, most of them operate in a way to where the blockchain is literally made public. And if you're trying to commit crimes, using a public ledger doesn't make much sense, really. Like, it's one thing if you make that argument for privacy focused coins like a Monero, but again, they use cryptocurrency as a whole to try to push that narrative that only criminals use it. Now, why are they saying that? Because they want regular people to assume that they shouldn't be using it. And so a lot of people are going to miss out on the opportunity to make some money. And by the time these companies, these corporations, and these publications finally turn around and say that it's okay to use it, by then all the potential wealth that could be made, it will have already been made. And they'll just use the people as exit liquidity. But it's neither here nor there. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are you optimistic about the tariffs being settled between the tariff conversation being settled between the U.S. and China? And